All right, let's just jump right in. We hear about AI and its impact on our jobs all the time, but let's frame it for what it really is: a massive, high stakes gamble. And look, the choice isn't if you're going to play, it's how you play. Your entire career is sitting there on the table, and the only insurance policy might be merging with the machine itself. This quote just nails the whole thing, doesn't it? For centuries, new tech came for our muscles, right? It made our physical strength less and less important. But this is totally different. This time, it's targeting the one thing we all thought was uniquely human: our ability to think.
So you've probably heard this line, I'm sure. People say, oh, don't worry, technology always creates more jobs than it destroys. That's a classic idea called the Luddite fallacy. And honestly, betting your entire career on that idea right now, that is a really, really dangerous bet. Let's dig into why.
And to be fair, for about 200 years, that was pretty much true. The printing press got rid of scribes, sure, but it created jobs for printers. Calculators replaced people who were literally called computers, and that opened up all these new roles in finance and engineering. The pattern held. But here's the catch. History is only a good guide when the basic rules of the game haven't changed.
And this is where you can really see the massive difference. Past revolutions automated muscle, which allowed us to move up the ladder into cognitive brain work. But AI goes straight for that cognitive layer itself. It's what you'd call omni-use. The very same model can write code, then turn around and draft a legal contract, and then whip up a marketing campaign. So that leads to a crucial question. When the machines can do the thinking, where do the thinkers go?
Okay, so the most popular advice you hear everywhere is become a centaur. You know, this hybrid human working with an AI. It sounds great, and everyone points to this one famous story from the world of chess to prove it. The thing is, they usually leave out the most important part of the story. Back in the late 90s, the chess legend Garry Kasparov suggested that a human paired with a chess AI would be unstoppable. And you know what? For about 15 years, he was spot on. These centaur teams were the kings of the chess world, beating the best humans and even the most powerful supercomputers. It was the perfect poster child for human-AI collaboration. And that's usually where the story ends. It's a nice, feel-good conclusion that keeps us humans firmly in the driver's seat. But there's an epilogue. A critical part 2 to this story that completely flips the script on what it actually means for us. See, by the mid-2010s, the pure AI engines got so ridiculously good that they started crushing the best human AI teams. The centaurs became obsolete. That enhancement window, that period where a human actually added value, was temporary. This suggests that being a centaur isn't the destination. It's just a transition, a phase with an expiration date. And none of us know how long it's going to last. Now, whether or not we see mass job losses, the actual economics of being a knowledge worker have already changed in a huge way. And this brings us to a concept that directly hits your paycheck: the great decoupling. And this chart just lays it all out, plain as day. For decades, the deal was simple. We get more productive, we get paid more. The lines went up together. But look what happened. That link is just broken. Productivity keeps shooting for the moon, while wages for the average person have completely flatlined. Think about it. If AI makes you 3 times more productive, why would your company pay you 3 times more? It's a lot easier for them to just pocket the difference. So here's the bottom line. When expertise becomes cheap and abundant because an AI can spit it out on demand, then simply knowing things isn't enough to protect your career anymore. Your knowledge, that fortress you thought you had, it's not a defensible moat any longer. So yeah, the future is uncertain. Let's be real. Anyone who tells you they know exactly how this is going to play out is probably trying to sell you something. But just because it's uncertain doesn't mean you can sit on the sidelines. In fact, it's the opposite. This is when having a smart strategy matters more than ever. The new way to show your value isn't just about having knowledge anymore. It's about showing you have mastery at speed. Let's call it the flash roll. Think of it like a 60 to 90-second burst of pure, synthesized expertise. It's you proving you can pull together critical insights faster than anyone else by using AI as a force multiplier for your brain. Let's make this concrete. Imagine you're in fintech. The old way, you spend 3 days manually slogging through documents to do a compliance audit. The new way, you use AI to parse all the documents, map the system against the latest regulations, and boom, in 90 seconds it tells you exactly where the compliance gaps are. Your value isn't doing the audit anymore. It's the judgment about what to do next. That's a flash roll. To figure out the right strategy, let's use a cool mental model called inversion. Instead of asking, how do I succeed, we're going to flip it on its head and ask the opposite, much more powerful question.
You want to know the secret recipe for making your career obsolete? Here it is. First, spend all day doing simple pattern matching work. You know, if this, then that. Second, keep your workflow stuck in 2023. Don't change a thing. And third, just deliver data without offering any judgment or strategic point of view. If your job ticks these boxes, you're on the fast track to being automated. This all builds to the core choice, and this table makes it incredibly clear. Look, if you go all in on enhancing your skills with AI, and the disruption is slow, you still win. You're just way more effective. If the disruption is fast, you also win because you're ahead of the curve. But if you wait and see, your best case is neutral. Your worst case is being catastrophically behind. The gamble isn't whether to enhance, it's whether you start now or later. And only one of those choices has a massive downside.
And please, don't underestimate the speed of this. A tiny 1% improvement in how you work every day doesn't just add up, it compounds. Over the course of a single year, that small daily effort makes you 37 times better. The clock is ticking.
So what can you actually do right now? Here's a simple 15-minute audit you can do for yourself with 3 steps to take today to figure out where you stand and plan your next move. First, identify the pattern. Be brutally honest with yourself. What percentage of your job is just following a set of instructions? That number, that's your vulnerability score. Second, test your thinking. If you could suddenly do a month's work in 3 days, what new, higher-level job could you take on? If you can't think of anything, you're not thinking big enough. And finally, find the gap. Think about that AI tool you tried for a week and then gave up on. You probably quit right before the learning curve started to pay off.
So let's end with a few questions to leave you thinking. First up, if 80% of your current job was automated overnight, what's your plan for that new freed up time? If you don't have a compelling answer, that right there is the problem you need to solve.
And think about this. When was the last time you truly rebuilt a process from the ground up with AI at its core? Or are you just bolting AI onto your old habits? That's like putting a jet engine on a horse-drawn cart. It's not going to end well.
And finally, this is really the only question that matters. Because your peers, your competition, the smartest people in your field, they're all asking themselves this exact same thing. So, are you